Hi, everyone. Give me 1 second. I'm lining up stuff again. Okay. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I think today's Monday, isn't it? Yeah, July the 28th. Yesterday, a nephew of mine turned 43, and let's see, a daughter turned 37 on Friday, and tomorrow, my oldest grandchild turns 18. Family, family. That's awesome. So, I read something today that I just wanted to talk with you about. This is something that Secretary Collins put out. He did it in a video thing with somebody on the Resilience Show or something like that. But in the video, he said, let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm going to pull up the email stuff that I sent out earlier because it should be right there for you to get. Okay. This is what he said. He said, sometimes, this is what Secretary Collins said yesterday. Sometimes people make the mistake of lumping veterans into one big group. At Department of Veterans Affairs, we are listening to veterans' unique voices and incorporating their feedback as we improve services. I'm going to tell you, that is the kind of thing that just absolutely should piss off everybody, because there is no truth to that. He's only listening to the ones that he wants to listen to, and he's blocking and denying access to those who he doesn't like or this administration doesn't like. That's a blatant lie to convince the American public that they're doing all they can to help all the veterans, and that they're all of their unique voices are being heard, with the exception of LGBT and trans and non-binary veterans. He's not listening to anyone from that group, but yet he says that's what he's doing. He's listening to all veterans, because that's a mistake to lump all veterans into one big group because they have unique voices, right? I mean, come on. What's the problem with that? That is the height of propaganda push that I've ever seen. That's Goebbels on steroids almost. Well, that's almost as bad as Stephen Miller. But anyway, I won't go there because Stephen Miller reminds me so much of Goebbels. And hey, Vivian, and you're totally spot on. Absolutely. Thank you. So when Secretary Collins says something like that, it kind of gets me up in arms about it. It should all of us, right? Because he's not listening to us. He's not listening to transgender veterans. He's shut the door in our faces. And it's even worse than that. A week ago on another show, he said transgender veterans who were receiving care prior to March of 2025 will continue to receive medically appropriate care going afterwards. So I'm going to tell you that this is the big topic right now, because when he says something like that, what does he mean? What does that mean for the new enrollees who have gender dysphoria? Well, he said something about that too. He did say, but we're not going to give them, those who have gender dysphoria as new enrollees coming into the VA system, we're not going to provide them with that medically appropriate care. Come on, Collins. So I'm sending out a press release, and you probably are likely received a copy of it right now. It's for immediate release. It's streaming. I sent it by email to a whole bunch of media outlets and everyone I could get my hands on, and share that thing widely. If you didn't receive it, go to the website, www.cassandra-llc.com, and make sure you sign up on there. And if you can buy a cup of coffee, that'd be helpful too, because I do drink that after I started about 3 weeks ago. You'd think I did that back in the Navy. No, I had an aversion to coffee back then. I drank all the bug juice they had, though, on the sub. Subs, plural. But anyway, so this has got me pissed off, folks. It's really, really bad. I mean, there's so much hypocrisy in those statements, all of them. You're lumping the veterans into one big group. No, you're saying your people make a mistake doing that? Absolutely they do. But you, Secretary Collins, are lumping us into that big group. That should really just get under your skin. And whenever you get that letter that I sent out, share it with your media sources in town. It's a press release. It can go out to anyone across the country. I am particularly looking to inundate DC with this letter. So, and to add, he's trying to say that veterans who request affirming care can do it on their own dime. Yeah, and he's talking about the new enrollees right there. He's talking about the new enrollees, which is also friggin' disingenuous because the GOP is actively targeting affirming care for civilians too. Yes, they will not stop, Vivian. They will not stop. They're going to go after the whole thing, whether children, adults, or teens, adults, young adults, senior adults. They want it all to stop. I fully expect, and Jamie and I, Jamie was here with me earlier today on the show. I see Jamie in there right now, waiting to come on. I see you. I can't hear you. Yeah. So this conversation is worth having, folks. We've got to get the word out there. You got to stir the pot on this. The other big fear that I've got, and this is a very real one because I know what's coming. I can see it coming. If your nonprofit organization has a federal nonprofit status, a 501c3 or 4C or whatever, if you've got those statuses and you are just taking care of specific groups, they are looking at ways to shut you down. That's not hyperbole. That's not an exaggeration. They've made it clear. I mean, they're going after Act Blue. They're going after any of these organizations out there that they think will interfere with the process of, possibly re-election or gaining more control of the executive branch. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you what, we're in for a rough period of time if we don't figure out how to be resilient. And I'm glad he was on that show, Resilient Show. I'm going to bring you on, Jamie. Hold on. So you should be on there somewhere, I think.
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, I hear you. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Vivian, you're right. We need to call it what it is. It is genocide. It's an effort to wipe out a whole group of people that they don't like. They've never liked, period. Never liked anything to do with the LGBT community. Whether it's gays, lesbians, bisexual people, gender queer people, any of those things, transgender people, transsexual people.
Anybody different than them?
Huh?
Anybody different than them?
Anyone different than them. That's exactly right. Anyone different from them, they are going after them. That's what they want. They've wanted to do that. Look, how many of you know what the lavender scare is? Hands in the air. Let's see. Lavender scare. Anybody hear about the lavender scare? Oh, yeah? Okay, so 1950s. During the same period that Alan Turing was being treated with electroshock therapy because he was gay. The man who broke the Enigma code that the Germans were using. He was gay. They gave him electroshock therapy to try to cure him. Didn't cure him, but they did end up finally killing him. So here we are, 1950s. McCarthyism's running rampant across the country, sweeping out communists and anybody who's different and going after educational institutions who were teaching anything that they didn't like today. They cleared them out. They made the universities and college systems in the country acquiesce to what they wanted. They sure did. They tried it in the 50s. They did it. But they also had a problem that they said was a national security risk. There are a lot of gays and lesbians working for the State Department. They kicked out 20 100,000 federal employees because they were gay and lesbian in the 1950s. That was the Lavender Scare. They're coming after us again. Every time you can chart this thing, it's like a graph that's got several little humps on it, high points on the graph. And here we go. 50s, they go after the gays, lesbians, communists, anybody like that, rightfully after the communists. Oh no, whose alarm's going to blow up? But so they went after everybody that were different, that thought differently, had a different opinion about things. But in the 30s, they didn't go after the eugenicists, did they? No, Bertrand Russell, big time academic philosopher here in the United States, eugenicist. He's the one who basically informed the Nazis how to do it. Yes, the Nazis thought that we wouldn't jump into the war with them against them because we were just as racist as they were. And that's the truth. That's what they were hoping that we wouldn't, because they'd borrowed so much from us, from the KKK and everything else in the 20s and 30s. Anyway, I digress. I'm going way back in history that most of y'all are just kind of like a nerd on all this stuff. So you got to kind of smack me around and say, hey, Cassandra, you're getting long-winded.
No, I think it's helpful because, to me, it's new to me. I mean, I hadn't heard anything about that, but
yeah.
It'll give me something to look back on and kind of make the similarities between what's going on today and what happened.
Right, exactly. I mean, these things are all connected, and they're cyclic in history. And that's the thing. In the 50s, during the Lavender Scare, like I said before, they went after everything. Everything. Any ideology they thought was different, they were going after it. If you're gay or lesbian, they were going after you. And then they kind of tampered. They kind of cooled down a little bit. But all of a sudden, in the late 60s and early 70s, what was going on? Well, there were lots of protests against the Vietnam War. Lots of protests. And some of them were justified because the government was telling the American citizens anyway, hey, we're not going to do anything else over there, and then go right around and do it anyway. And then they weren't telling them the truth about how many people were being killed, about crossing the line and going after people in other countries. So they were pissed about this, okay? Rightfully so. So much so that, all the conservative talking heads, they were going, we can't have this kind of disruption in the country. We've got to regain control, and we're losing that, and got to abide by all the laws and got to enforce the rules and regulations and laws in this country. Send the National Guard. Let's kind of quell it down a little bit. Sure enough, they did. 9 people were wounded at Kent State in Ohio. 4 were killed. That kind of accelerated the end of the war. We're seeing the same kind of cycles occurring again, where you have, good to see y'all. Hey, Vivian, thanks for dropping in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Come by anytime. I'm here. No, we will not back down. I'm going to be loud about it. But anyway, so these cycles have occurred ever so often. You get a conservative pushback against cultural freedoms and liberties. And whenever that happens, the conservatives go, no, too much, too far, too fast. You're shoving it down our throats again. And I got a word for them on that one. Shut your darn mouth. Maybe then it won't go too far down your throat.
So what are you suggesting with the email to forward it to our own Congress people, or
forward it to congressmen, newspaper outlets, media sources of all types that you may have access to that I don't, where you are? I want to try to stir this thing up as broadly as possible. That letter, I think, did you get it?
Copy? Yeah, I did look at my email. I did see the
okay
letter that you sent. Yep.
Good. But it is just so reprehensible to me to see what's going on right now in the VA, that all these transgender veterans out there, especially the new ones, the new enrollees who are coming in who have gender dysphoria, they're not going to care for you. or at least not provide medically appropriate care for your gender dysphoria. They're not going to do that. And eventually they'll stop it for all the rest of us too.
I think so too. I mean, if the writing's on the wall, if they do it for one, they're going to do it to everybody.
Exactly. Exactly right. And what can you do about it? They've got the Supreme Court that is going to rule in their favor regardless. We already know that. So I don't know what to do other than keep talking and being loud about it and try to bring as many people on board to hear what's going on. Jeez.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe as much as you can be seen and be heard, the better.
Yeah, exactly. I think you have some experience with that recently at a town hall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Tell us about that, what that was like.
Oh, that was kind of interesting. I had went there last Friday to Congressman's town hall meeting, and I was the last person there that got to speak, but it was basically about her possibly investigating the deficiencies in the EEOC and then standing up for transgender rights with passports and in the military. And at the end of it all, I got a big round of applause, and I got a lot of support from people, after the meeting had let go. And, that was really, a positive experience for me. I didn't know that I would have that kind of support, with a group like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is shocking when that occurs. It just feels so good too, to know that people have your back.
Right.
Yeah. So, wow. Sometimes around here, it's really shocking for me here in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, is that the people really aren't up in arms about all of this stuff. It's just the elites on the Republican side. And I know you're a Republican.
Democrats, though, are just sitting on the fence and watching the stuff happen. They're not throwing the stones, but if you're watching somebody get killed or whatever, you're just as guilty as the person throwing the stones.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Now, look, I do want to make it clear that if I do call balls and strikes, if somebody on the left is doing something stupid, I'm calling them out.
Right.
But if somebody on the right's doing something stupid, I'm calling them out too. I'm an equal caller outer.
Yep.
I mean, we've got some correcting to do in our own community. That's for sure. But all it takes is one person doing something stupid on our side and becomes the poster child for the entire community over here on Fox News on the 5.
Yeah. I don't like Michigan being on the news there for the Walmart incident up there, with the staff, and that makes us look like idiots.
Yeah, well, every time that occurs, no matter where, it makes that whole community look ridiculous. But they can't control it, really.
No, I mean, it was always a big deal when it happens with guns or anything, but a butter knife now going to be outlawed. I mean,
right. Yeah, that knife took a will of its own and went plunge. But anyway, the thing that I do want to point out about that too is one thing that is only just briefly talked about is that there were 2 people who actually stopped that person.
Yeah, one was a Marine.
Both of them were Marines.
Oh, okay, I know. Okay.
Both of them were Marines. The first one who didn't have a weapon, but he had a shopping cart, and he went after the guy with the shopping cart. And then the other guy showed up with the pistol, and it turns out both of them are Marines. Thank goodness they didn't shoot anybody or didn't shoot the person either, because that way, like somebody else said, at least now you can find out what actually is going on. What was going on in your head, buddy?
Well, to me, if you're smart enough to do that, it shouldn't matter whether you got the mental capacity to understand what's going to happen. I mean, to me, right. It's a criminal mind that could do that sort of thing that should be punished for it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly right. And don't lock the gun up. The gun wasn't the problem.
No. No.
And by the way, it's really disingenuous for people, any group in this country, in the United States, to say anything about weapons and guns and like they want to control and regulate them. You're not going to be able to do that. There are more guns
Hardest
in
thing
this
to do is
country.
to train everybody that wants, to use it, and
Yeah.
even, to pay for the training for a concealed weapon. If everybody walked around carrying a permitted weapon and knew how to use it, you wouldn't have as much street crime. You had to wonder, especially, I think like the cashiers. The cashiers ought to be able to give you the money and shoot you in the back on the way out. That would be justice. As long as you had a camera to prove that happened, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
There wouldn't be no robberies. If you had to wonder whether that granny, but sitting behind the cash register, might have a shotgun or something and blow you away once you walk toward the door with the cash.
Well, a few years back, they would have.
Oh yeah.
They would have. Back in the 30s, 20s, and 30s, you can guarantee that they had a shotgun or something around because they were afraid of, those, what do you call them? Jeez. The people like Bonnie and Clyde running around
Yeah,
robbing
yeah,
banks.
yeah,
That everybody was up in arms about that. So darn well that Mom and Pa had a shotgun behind their counter.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that should be legal. Like I said,
Yeah.
even in school, they used to have hunter safety. I mean, that used to be something there that was very common. They don't do that anymore.
No, they don't. No, they don't. We didn't have that here, but we had it in the scouting stuff. That my dad
Oh, yeah.
was a scoutmaster. But yeah, that back in the '60s when I was in elementary school year, that they didn't teach anything like that here.
Oh. Used to be too. They did the driver's training. At school too. They don't do that anymore at school.
Oh yeah, wow.
I mean, yeah, it's basically everybody fends for themselves.
Oh wow.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
getting so that the kids there's a lot of kids, that are older, like over 18, that don't even have licenses for some reason.
They don't want it.
No,
They
they don't
don't.
want to grow up. They want to be Peter Pan.
No, I actually think the reason that they don't want it is they find all of their entertainment and connection online.
Well, yeah, but it's just now that you can say, "Beam me aboard, Scotty," and go from point A to point B, and you got to get there somehow, and
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'd be up for that now. I'm a big Star
I
Trek.
think I would too.
I certainly would. Absolutely. My goodness. Huge. Give me Star Trek, the Federation, any day of the week.
Yeah.
But that
We've
is a
got the
kind
Space Force now. I mean, I thought that was kind of a far-fetched idea, but I guess, in the scheme of things, maybe it's a good thing. But
well, Jamie, that's a good thing right there. I'll tell you, that's a good conversation because I've always thought that we needed a space force, and I'm talking about from all the way back in the '60s when I was reading Star Trek and reading Perry Rodin, written by 4 German authors, and all this kind of stuff, the science fiction stuff like that.
yeah,
I've always thought that we needed to have something like that. Then when Trump did it, I'm going, Trump did it. Okay, yay.
well, to me now, the Navy could take care of everything. If you can land on an aircraft carrier, you can land on any Air Force base. To me, that's the best pilot, in the sky is one that can land on a carrier.
Yeah, but you know why? I have a friend. I have a friend from back in the day, way back in the day, who was an enlisted Marine, went through prep school with me, went to the Naval Academy with me, graduated with me, and we were in the same company together and became a pilot in the Navy. And then after he got out of the Navy, he decided he wanted to fly the bigger planes that you couldn't land on the carriers.
They've landed some big ones on there now. I mean, some
Yeah, those are big ones, but he wanted to fly the big ones, and so he joined the Air Force. And then retired out of the Air Force. I'm thinking, John, takes all kinds. You went through 3 different branches right there: Marines, Navy, and Air Force.
Yeah.
He was a good guy.
That takes a lot of dedication. I didn't mind 4 years of somebody telling me what to do and when to do it and how to do it. But 4 years is enough of it.
Yeah, I did 9.5 years. So did my son. My son did 9.5 years too. But he did his all in the Air Force. I did mine kind of split up.
Yeah, I think you lost your microphone there.
Oh, did I lose my microphone? This one?
Yep, you did.
Okay. I didn't even have it in front of me. That's the whole problem. I just had it sitting off to the side. So,
I've got a muter and muter and muter.
oh, well. I'm very proud of my kids. I'm starting to put, I've got a property near here,
Uh-huh.
and I got flags up, a flag on it. So right now, but the U.S. flag, and I want to go make sure I get the service branches that's represented by my family. And let me see, that would cover Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. So I want to make sure I have all those flags. And my dad was a CB, so I've got one of those flags here somewhere too. So I want to fly them all right out there.
That's right. Yep.
But anyway, hey, it's 26 after. Everyone, I just want to say thank you for coming in and watching and participating, listening in, whatever you do. You're more than welcome to join us on stage during these events, because I find that if you disagree with me, I'm more inclined to actually listen and engage with you, because it's one thing to be able to engage with people who are in the same community and in the same silo as us. It's another when they're in a totally different silo and there's no door between the two.
We'll agree on most things, but I mean, there's a few things, that we don't. But it's always good to find out why the other person thinks a certain way.
Yeah,
because maybe there's a good reason why you should too, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to have a conversation about that.
Yeah. I won't say everything.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the conversations I had today, it's probably still ongoing on X, and I've got the two different accounts on Twitter, and one of them is my anti-fascist account. And I'm talking about anti-fascists like our World War II soldiers who defeated the Nazis, that kind of anti-fascist. Not the Antifa, which stands for the exact same thing, but no, I'm not that. But yeah, I had a good conversation on there today. This person was trying to pin me down on some thoughts and stuff. They had said something about men and women, or humanity did not originate from monkeys or apes or amoebas in some seas 4 billion years ago. And they asked me what I thought about it, and I said, look, you and I are here, aren't we?
Doesn't matter why. It's just because you are here. Just deal with where you're at right here and now.
Well, not just that. I was saying, and I ended up having to explain it. I was saying that it absolutely could have most likely started out with inorganic matter that became organic compounds, and had a lot of organic compounds appearing over 4.5 billion years ago and all this kind of stuff. And they were trying to pin me down, and I just point blank asked them, so when do you think we started?
Yeah. Well, I would like to talk with somebody there to find out what their explanation of why they support reincarnation. I mean, if we all reincarnated, why is the population of the world getting bigger?
Well, there's a couple explanations for that. Neither of them are good. One of them is that when you get reincarnated, only half of you goes out and the other half goes somewhere else.
Well, what do you mean? It doubles, or?
Well, let's say you've got you. I don't know this is the way they think about it. I don't know. It just occurred to me as an explanation. And I said, I'm thinking that, all right, so you've got, let's say me.
Yeah.
And if I believed in reincarnation, which I don't, but if you believed in reincarnation, and you're concerned about why it would increase, the population increases even when you have a set number of starting points. Well, just take me, for instance. You just start splitting it up into smaller and smaller pieces. It's a different part of me that goes here, and a different part goes to that person, a different part to that person. And you never get there. Just a weakened version. Makes me wonder what the original was like.
Part of you goes into a dog or something, you
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Yeah. Or that ant that I just killed the other day. It caused me a
yeah.
headache. And the cow, the beef I ate this
There
afternoon.
you go.
Oh, that beef I ate this afternoon. Now that it was good,
Well,
but I don't think it was Johnny.
good.
Bye. Bye. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye bye.